This email was kind of long. Y'all, please. I broke up with my therapist. If you ever want to getting brand deals, you don't. You gonna put me how that color? Multiple choice. If you follow, and I know. Okay.
45 hours a week is the time that an average individual spends on their phone. And a lot of that is spent on social media. A lot of us have what is called essentially a social media addiction. And I feel like it's just a thing of the time, right? But I don't think that that should make us succumb to it. I don't feel like you have to be addicted to social media. And I feel like there are ways that can help you so you aren't addicted to social media. So that's essentially why I made this video. And of course, here are the chapters. So first, I think one of the things that definitely can help you from not being addicted is having a schedule. I feel like a schedule is imperative. I talk about it on multiple videos, but it's because a lot of times we use social media in just like a gap space or just a gap thought, honestly and truly. Like I use social media when I'm just on my phone and I'm just like, or even before I get on my phone and I'm just like, oh, what am I about to eat for breakfast, or what am I about to eat for lunch? And then I just go on my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, you get what I'm saying? Because I don't know what I'm about to do. Oh, what am I about to do after I leave work? Oh, what am I about to, during those gap spaces of your brain going into wander, a lot of times it's easy for us to just use that time period to use our phone because we don't know exactly what we're supposed to do. So we want to fill that time doing something. A lot of times people think of, oh, I'm just lazy, I want to be on my phone, or I'm just this, I want to be on my phone. No, you actually want something to do. It's just you don't know what to do, so you use your phone. So I definitely think having a schedule is very imperative so you know what you're supposed to do at certain time periods. And then I feel like it also keeps you accountable. Like, hey, you said you were supposed to do so-and-so at so-and-so time, but you didn't because you were on your phone. You said you were supposed to do that at so-and-so time, but you didn't because you were on your phone. I feel like a lot of times we don't even realize how much stuff we could have done or we should have done because of being on our phones, simply because we don't have a schedule and we just made a list of it or just was accountable of the things that we should be doing during that time period. Cues and awareness. So one thing you have to do is be aware of how many times you're on your phone and how long you're on your phone. Now, I definitely recommend to go into your settings and look at your screen time because a lot of people would be like, oh, I use my phone this much. And then you also can see what apps you use your phone the most. But I feel like it's also imperative to realize that there are many cues that make us go on our phone, right? And cues and awareness are kind of hand in hand. So a cue is essentially something that makes you aware and makes you want to do something. It cues you to do it. So one of the things I definitely recommend everyone should do, I did this a while ago, turn off the notifications on your phone. There is no reason why you should be getting a ding that somebody DM'd you or a ding that somebody liked your video on TikTok, because that makes you more likely to want to figure out, hey, what is this notification? Hey, what's going on? So I definitely right now turn off all your social media notifications. Limit your availability. A lot of times we're on our phone because it's so accessible and so available. So one of the things I recommend, especially when it comes to morning and night, because those are one of the times that I know it definitely gets me. If you're anything like me, as soon as you hear your alarm, you stop your alarm, you go on your phone for a little bit, and then a little bit turns into 30-40 minutes, and then you find yourself rushing, or you find yourself just starting the day using your phone. I definitely recommend, if you can, to put your phone in another room. And I know some people are like, well, how am I supposed to wake up? Go on Amazon and get you an alarm clock. They're very inexpensive. You really don't need your phone. And I feel like that's something also to do. It helps you at night. So there's a time period of in the morning and at night that you're not using your phone because it's not even in the room with you. You don't even have any awareness that it's there. I think sometimes people don't realize you simply use it just because it's there. It's not because you want to find something new. It's not because something exciting is going on. It's simply in your vicinity. So take it out of your vicinity. And I feel like also it helps you wake up in the morning because you're less likely to just stay in bed because you're not using your phone. And then also I realized personally doing it, it helps you go to sleep better. There's studies have been done on it, but kind of like, you have to realize all of the lights and all of the sounds, all of the things that are going on in our brain when we're receiving all of this information. And we don't look at it like that because to us it's normal, but your brain is literally like ding 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 ding. Your brain is constantly moving. Your brain is constantly going. And then what do? We tell ourselves we're going to sleep at a certain time. We probably stay up a bit after because we're on our phones, and then we expect ourselves to just turn off our phone and go to sleep. And then we complain about not being able to go to sleep. You can't go to sleep because your brain is up. your brain is like, wait, what? That's like somebody literally running 5 miles and then being like, oh, I'm about to go to sleep right now. Like that, yes, you may feel tired because you were up all day. And yes, you may feel tired because you were running, but more than likely it's probably gonna be a little bit hard for you to sleep because your body is still up. Your body is still like, so what are we doing? What are we doing? Your body is so alert. That's like, no, a better analogy is giving a child a whole bunch of sugar and then expecting them just to go to sleep. Yes, eventually they are gonna crash and go to sleep, but they just got all that sugar. They're amped up. They're like, what are we doing? That's how your brain feels. And then what do you tell your brain? It's time to go to sleep. We need to go to sleep. So you should put a time period. I recommend start out slow. Start out with like 10 minutes before you usually go to sleep or something like that, and putting your phone out of the room, and then amp it up. See if you can if you can get up to an hour, that would be great, but see if you really can get to like 30 to 45 minutes before you go to sleep of not having your phone in your room, because you stop that awareness of your phone even being there. And then I feel like it helps you go to sleep. It helps you wake up because your brain is not constantly racking and breaking, because it has all these neurons and all these receptors from looking at your phone screen. Another thing about awareness, I definitely recommend everyone to have a tally on your phone of how many times you're on your phone a day. I feel like a lot of people don't even realize how many times you're on your phone a day. And for the first day or two, only use it as awareness. Like, don't use it to be like I'm gonna stop being on my phone, and do it gradually. So let's say, you tally every single time you're on your phone, which kind of sounds counterintuitive, but tally how many times you do it. If you're on your phone 50 times, you pick up your phone 50 times a day, the next day, try to get down to like 48. Kind of make it a challenge for yourself in a sense of 1, so you're aware of how many times you're doing this thing. And then it's like a 2, you are helping yourself kind of get down and building up that awareness. Because like I said before, it's really a lot of times we aren't aware. Like, we don't realize we're on our phone for so many hours. We don't realize we pick up our phone so many times. And simply just the act of making yourself aware and making yourself accountable can definitely help, as far as just like, wow, I do have a problem. Another thing I definitely recommend, romanticize your life and make it interesting, because that's probably why you look to your phone for more interesting things. Now, if you're not familiar with romanticizing your life, it's essentially just making your life beautiful, making your life aesthetically pleasing. And that's to each its own. Everyone has a different aesthetic. Everyone has a different definition of beauty. But I definitely recommend doing that. And I also think of it as just being extra, because that takes extra time, and that's mean extra time with you doing things and probably away from your phone. So I even saw a TikTok recently of a girl saying her idea of romanticizing her life is that she has like these cool little cups that she puts her protein shakes inside of, and then she decorates the rim of the cup with different things. I don't know if you guys ever seen, like, I've never personally had one, but I've seen like on Instagram and stuff, videos of like those extra milkshakes, and they have like the things around the rim, or similar to kind of like a cocktail, but hers was just a little bit more extra because it was like a milky drink. And she does that. And the way that it helps you is because it's allowing you honestly and truly to like find your life to be beautiful, even the little things inside of it, such as a protein shake. But then it also takes up time. A lot of times we're on our phone because, like I said before, we have nothing to do. It's nothing for us to do. Like, of course we're going to be on our phone. What else are we going to be doing? So I definitely recommend to romanticize your life, because it allows you to make your life beautiful and honestly appreciate the things that you have. So another thing to do, every single couple months, or honestly it feels like every single month, there's a holiday. There is Valentine's Day coming up. You can do very inexpensive things. Go and find, some nice decorations from the dollar store. You can find some nice decorations from Five Below. Me, I decorated my cabinets and all these other things. And I found all this stuff from the dollar store. Like, it was very cheap and very inexpensive. Don't get in the mindset of, oh, I want to do this thing, but I can't because it's too expensive. Oh, I want to do that. There's very inexpensive ways to do things. And the whole idea of it is to really start enjoying your life and doing things. And because the thing is, we live in social media. We're just like, oh, well, if I had my dream apartment, I would decorate it and make it nice. Oh, if I had my dream car, I would decorate. Do it now. Like, don't wait until you may or may not get those things. But then also, the time that it takes you makes you actually enjoy your life, and you actually enjoy doing those things. And then also just building out things for you to experience life. Start doing hobbies, start going to group events, start doing things. I feel like when you become an adult, it becomes a thing of just work. Your life becomes work. Your first question people ask you is, what do you do? It's not, who are you? What do you like? What makes you happy? It's really, what do you do? And so we devote all of our life to work and all these other things, and we feel like that's who we are, our jobs. Or even if you're in school, you know, your school. And in the meantime, or the other time, we're like, okay, we could use this time for social media. No, you should be using that time to actually experience life and experience you. I feel like we devalue ourselves to just feel like we can just be defined by one thing. Like, start hobbies. A lot of adults don't have hobbies, which is a whole nother video topic of why that is imperative. But find hobbies. Like, there are things you can do that are inside the house. You can crochet, you can bake, you can draw, you can do so many things. And there's things you can do outside. You can go hiking, you can do Pilates, you can do sculpting, you can do an art class, you can do, they even have things such as quiet book clubs, right? You can see if one is in your area. Let's say you do like to read, but you're like, I like to read, but you know, you just want to be around other people. It's the whole thing is just to get people to come together, people who like to read. You don't necessarily have to even be reading the same book as the people there, but it's just to have human connection. Like, a lot of times I feel like what makes us go to our phone is that we're not enjoying life. Like, you're not doing anything. You're not, like, I realize where I live, they have festivals, they have so many museums, they have just so many things you can just try and do. And also, do not convince yourself, I don't like this thing, I don't like that thing. Y'all, I'm not a big museum person, but I plan on going to a museum, an art museum next week, for the simple fact that I don't think I've ever been to a museum. I think I probably went to a museum once. It's like a school field trip, but it's so easy to say stuff you don't like simply because you didn't do it. And maybe I will like it and become, you know, an art connoisseur, or maybe I won't and never go to another museum again, but at least I know what I like and I don't like. I say that to say, experience life. Start doing things. There's group events. There's things that you can do. And I feel like that allows you to get away from your phone. I feel like you really should find a substitute. A lot of people get into the mindset of, oh, I just shouldn't want to be on my phone, or I just shouldn't want to do this. It's similar to like a drug addict, because essentially, I mean, our phones are now the new age drugs. I say that to say, trying to get a drug addict off, they often tell them, hey, what else can you use during that time period? Hey, what else can you do? Like, if you're addicted to something, it's not about telling yourself or trying to convince yourself to, oh, I just have to stop this thing, or I just shouldn't want to do this thing, or I shouldn't do that thing. No, let's actually try to figure out something to substitute, something to put in there. It's not like you have to have a boring life. And I feel like that's what a lot of people think. That's why they go to their phone. So they're like, what else am I supposed to do? That's the whole point. You have the ability to find out what you can do. Actually live your life. Like, I don't know, now that I'm only 23, but I'm getting older and I'm realizing so many people around me and myself, we really don't live life. We really don't experience life and all the things that accompany it. But, I don't want to say but, it's because we rather be on social media. We rather see other people live their lives. We'll watch a whole video of someone showing a week in my life and them showing you them going to museums, them going to class, them going to all these other different things. And you're like, oh, I love this girl's life. It's just so much. It's just so interesting. But you won't do it for yourself. I say that to say, find a substitute, romanticize your life, start getting outside and start doing things. And don't just assume that you should just get off your phone and just want to, because obviously you don't. So let's find a way to help that. Prioritize your consumption. You have to understand, not all social media is bad. Social media actually has helped us in many ways. I feel like I'm coming to a point in my life, I realize if something is bad in your life, it's probably because you're allowing it to stay there. You're allowing that bad. So prioritize, first and foremost, who are you following? A lot of times we may say, oh, social media is this and social media is that, and there's always bad this and there's always bad that. But it's like, it's the people that you follow, because there's so many people that post good content. There's so many people that post caring things and nice things, but you don't follow those people. You want to keep up with the blogs. You want to keep up with little John that you used to go to school with, that you know he only posts BS. But you don't want to unfollow him because you don't want him to think. That was another thing for me too. I didn't want to unfollow certain people because I didn't want people to think like we had an issue or we had a problem. I realized I can't keep doing it to myself. I'm building a problem with myself by following people just because we went to middle school together, we went to high school together, or you get what I'm saying, or following certain pages just because I've been following them for a certain amount of time. Like, no, take all that out of your life. Like, prioritize your consumption. And then also, in the sense of how much you consume something. So there's ways where you can block your limit, the amount of time that you could be on certain apps. And I get it. I know some people are probably like, okay, but I always use my phone at work and I have nothing to do at work. I understand some people like that, because I had a friend who, and it probably isn't the best thing, but she was a security guard for a little bit. And I know you guys are probably like, she was a security guard on her phone. If I told y'all where she was a security guard to, you guys would be like, oh, that makes complete sense. You don't do anything there. I say that to say she did nothing all day. So she was just sitting on her phone all the time. If you're someone like that and you have a job where it's just like, oh, well, I don't do anything, or, oh, well, I have nothing to do, I definitely recommend to limit your availability or the probability of you being able to be on certain apps at certain times. So if you know you work in between this time and this time, limit it so that it's blocked in a way that you can't use certain apps during that time period. So it's like you have to find something productive to do. Because another thing you have to realize, not only are there productive people to follow, but there's also productive things to do. You can learn a language. You can learn how to code. You've been saying you want to start that business for forever. You can figure out how to start that business. Like, there's so many things that you can learn to do and you can do on social media that's beneficial to your life. And think about it this way, right? In the beginning of the video, I said the average individual spends about 45 hours a week on social media. Divide that in half. That's 22.5. If you took 22 and a half hours a week, think about how long you've been addicted to social media. I don't know if you're aware, I've realized my addiction has been going on for quite a time. Imagine how long or how different your life would be if you invested even half of that time into something, whether it was your health, whether it was your wealth, whether it was your mental. Think about how far you could be in life. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a dweller. I told y'all that before, but I'm a realist in the sense of I have to understand things that are holding me back. And imagine if you spent half that time, the average time you spend a week on social media and using your phone and just consuming crazy stuff, doing things positive. Like, think about the direction your life can be in, the difference your life could be in. And I say that to say, don't always look at it as, oh, well, I can't, be on social media and I can't use my phone. Like, no, you can use it for positive things. And as I said before, limiting your your consumption of even certain apps. Sometimes first and foremost, another thing I want to say is be aware that your For You page is for you. So a lot of times people love saying, oh, social media is bad and social media is this. Look at my For You page, all this and all this. They create your social media page based around the kind of content that you consume. So I want you to look inward at yourself. You're engaging with that kind of content, and that's what's making them push it out to you and think that you'll like it. But then also, I want you guys to be aware of the deletion of certain apps. So I'm all about, detoxing, right? For a certain time period. For like, I want to delete Instagram, I want to delete TikTok. I'm all for it. But be aware that detoxing will do nothing if you don't get rid of the problem. That's similar to like a drug addict say, okay, I'm not going to use this drug for 2 months, but then I'm going to go back on it. But when I go back on it, I'm not going to be addicted. Before you even delete that app and do the whole detox, unfollow the people who are making the kind of content that you don't feel like is beneficial for your life or you want to engage with, and then substitute them with the people who do make the kind of content that you want to engage with, the kind of things that you do feel like will be beneficial to your life. So when you get back on, it's not like oh, well, I got back addicted, or oh, well, it's the same thing. Like, no, before you disable that account, fill it with good stuff. So when you get back on after that detox of not being on there, now it's just filled with good stuff. Don't get to the mindset of, oh yeah, I'm going to delete it, and then when I go back, I'm going to just follow the good people. Do it now. Do it now. If you're going to do it, what's the point of waiting? Do it now. Okay? I definitely recommend to do that. Prioritize who you follow, and if you want to delete it, get rid of the bad things first and why you're addicted to social media. One thing I want to tell you is, you're always going to find what you want. And I had to realize that about myself, because I'm that person that will look for, like, let's say I'm looking for a white dress. I might have found one that was kind of cute, might have found another one, but I'm like, I think I might be able to find better. You are going to find better. I'm the kind of person that would be on page 152 of a clothing page and just looking for more stuff. And one thing I had to realize is, and we have to be honest with ourselves, you are always going to find better. In a sense of, there's always more. There's more of that than there is you. There's more content. There's more people than there is the one you. And I had to come to understanding with that to limit myself, because it's like, if I'm always going to find another prettier dress, I'm always going to find more funny content. I need to limit this. Even if I do like something, I need to limit it, because my brain is going to constantly want more. And the way it works is, I compare it to slot machines, right? So the way slot machines work at the casino, the reason why a lot of people become addicted is because it's a neurological thing that it does with your brain. So, your brain has different parts or whatever. Basically, what it does is it activates the reward system in your brain without getting the reward. So the near miss, even though someone could pull a slot and not make any money and lose, the near miss, but you almost won, because the near miss of winning. So you missed the win. It still activates the reward center in your brain as if you won. So think about that. Even if you don't win, but the possibility of winning still activates your brain to think that it won. So think about that. Your brain is constantly thinking, I'm winning. So your brain is constantly happy, and it's releasing a sense of a dopamine, similar to, a drug addict. I know you guys are like, you keep talking about drug addicts. I'm sorry, I just watch a lot of documentaries. Similar to a drug addict, like I said, dopamine, which is the happy chemical when it's activated. That's what you have to pay attention to. Dopamine, scientists test, dopamine actually is released when the drug addict sees the drug. It's not released once they use the drug. So if you think about it like that, you get more happy with the possibility of winning, the possibility of finding more entertaining content, the possibility of finding more stuff than actually finding it. Your brain is always gonna want the possibility. It's gonna want the possibility more than it wants the actual thing. So you think you're just looking for another dress. You think you're just looking for another funny video. You think you're just looking for, you get what I'm saying, more workout content. Because if you go to your saves, you got a whole bunch of workout content that you never used. Anyway, that's here nor there. I say that to say, it's because your brain gets happy, your brain gets excited, and it wants to be happy. It wants to be excited with the possibility of finding something, not actually finding it, which is why, like the workout videos, you don't use them. So once I really start thinking about that, I really start prioritizing, limiting my consumption, and just being, I guess some people could call it grateful. I guess some people could just call it, I don't know, I guess coming to an understanding. But like, I realized, you know what? I'm on page 4. If I don't find nothing past page 4, that's it. I was on TikTok for 30 minutes. 30 minutes is my limit, because I can't convince myself that I should want to stop. Like, once I came to understanding and learned that information that my brain is going to want more, I have to create limits for myself, because my brain is going to constantly want more. I can't convince myself that, once I get there, I'll stop. And that's what we try to do. Oh yeah, once I don't find nothing funny or nothing, you're always going to find what you want. So you have to create that limit before you stop. You have to create that limit before you open an app. You can't tell yourself once you're there, once I get a feeling or I don't want to. You're always going to want to, which is why you're going to end up doom scrolling, doom looking, and wasting all of that time on your phone. But I don't know, when I found out that information, it was so shocking to me, because it was like, that is what it is. I'm always looking for more. And it's because my brain is literally wired to do that. My brain literally wants to do this. This is what makes my brain happy. And it's not even finding what I like. It's just the possibility that there may be more. And then you also have to come to the understanding of, like, you are looking for something. I think sometimes people be like, well, I'm not looking for nothing. I just be scrolling, doing nothing. No, your brain is looking for entertainment. Your brain is looking for happiness. Your brain is looking for, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't do it. If it was not intriguing to you, if it wasn't moving you, you would not do it. Similar to what I said about me going to a museum. If I don't like the museum, I'm not going no more. why would I keep going to a museum and I don't like it? That's like me going to a museum every single day. And then people being like, oh, what do you like about the museum? I don't know. I just be going there. But you know there's other stuff you could be doing, right? Yeah, I know, but I'll just go to the museum. That's literally what you're telling yourself when you're like, well, I'm not looking for nothing. Your brain is. And your brain is giving you a reward response constantly, activating that part of your brain that gives the reward response, even though there is no real reward, just time wasted. And as I said in a previous video, it's not struggling, it's just redirection. Like I said, your brain wants to be happy. Your brain just wants to be calm, cool, collective, happy. Like that's just how I would describe how your brain wants to be. So another thing you have to realize too is sometimes you feel like you're struggling with something, and I mentioned this on a previous video, is simply because it's different. It's just redirection. It's not that you're struggling to not be on social media or you're struggling to, you can describe it like that. I mean, you could look at it like that, but I don't even like saying that particularly, that I'm struggling with something. It's just redirection. Your brain just isn't used to it. Similar to, you know, people who 30 years ago, you know, they weren't using social media. They weren't, and it wasn't a struggle for them to not be on social media, if that makes any sense, because that's just not the direction that their life, their brain was going in. So for us, it may seem like a struggle because you're like, oh, it's hard for me to get off, or it's hard for me to stop being on social media. It's not necessarily hard, it's just a redirection. Your brain just has to get used to it. Similar to now that you use social media so much, that's what your brain is used to. So that is what makes it happy. And you just have to get your brain happy doing other things. So do not look at it as struggling if you're trying to stop. Look at it as redirection. And one of the final things I want to leave you guys with is, and I had to realize this, what direction is your life going in? And I know some people are like, well, this became like a bit deeper than I thought. Because I realized, like I said before, 45 hours a week, average person, split that in two, that's 22 and a half hours a week. That you could be doing something else, that your life, and one thing you have to realize is your life is always going in a direction. Whether you realize it or not, your life is constantly going in a direction. And I realize with all the time I spent on social media, my life is going in a direction that I don't want it to. And that's why a lot of times, especially during the new year, we make these big goals and these things and we're like, it's gonna be better than last year, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And it's because we feel like we're longing for something, right? We wish we could do this, we want to do that. And I realized I could have done a lot of these things. It's just my life was going in a different direction. And my life was going in a different direction because of my overconsumption of social media. So I say that to say you have to become aware of like when you're on social media, as far as, of course, what are you consuming? What are you doing? And how long you're on there, because that's a dictator that shows you the direction where your life is going. And that's why I said before, we struggle with things and we feel like it's not enough time in a day. And I wish I can do this and I wish I could do that. But it's like, what if I told you you have 45 more hours a week? You'll be like, wait, what? You know how much stuff I can do with 45 hours? You don't. And I don't know, I feel like that's just something I wanted to leave you guys off with. Like, your life is always going in a direction, but especially when it comes to social media, due to a lot of us our overconsumption of it, realize that that's the direction your life is going in. The people that you follow, the people that you are engaging with, the videos that you are watching, that's the direction that your life is going in. And you're essentially giving a part of your life to them. And once I realized that, I was like, wow, I give more time to other people, whether it's a job, whether it's social media, all these things. And I could be romanticizing my life and I could be doing hobbies and I could be doing all these things, but I'd rather give it to my phone. And that was crazy to think about. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope you got something from it. I hope that you learned something. And definitely don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And go into your settings on your phone. Look at your screen time and how much time have you spent on your phone. Do you average time you spend on your phone? And if you're comfortable enough, you can comment it below, because I just want everyone to see it's normal. For me, I'm not gonna lie, I just checked mine. I think mine is like six hours and something. It actually did go down. It did go down. And for me, it's also hard because I'm a content creator. So sometimes it's hard for me to like turn off the two, because I convince myself, oh, this is for content. And it's like, no, you're just doom scrolling. So I understand it can be hard. Even besides being a content creator, I have my own social media addiction that I'm working through. But I hope this video was helpful for you. These are tips that I've been using that have been helping me. And I hope all in all, we could devote more time to ourselves than we do these phones.